Yo! Let's get this started right. Let's get the chaw going. Oh, fuck. Damn it. I had 2 cans sitting on my desk at home. And I took the one that had nothing in it. Ah, fuck. Should have thrown it out before. What a jackass. Speaking of which, my name is the Rocky Mountain no-name Jackass, and I want to welcome you to the Off Base podcast, the podcast that is specifically, carefully crafted to remind you to suck a fat one, because you ain't the only one. Case in point. Well, before we get to that, let's just get the logistics out of the way here, people. Those logistics being that it is 28 degrees outside here in Aurora, Colorado. 7:44 in the AM on November the 18th, 2021. So, the reminder that you're not the only one. You know what? I forgot what the hell I was going to say about that. I had a thought, it just left my head. You got to realize, what I'm doing here right now is I am simply providing maybe entertainment for people, but just some jackass that you can listen to, either to or from work, or dropping off the kids, picking them up, going on errands, blah, blah, blah. This is unscripted. This is unedited. So if I have a brain fart, you're going to smell it. And you're going to enjoy it. Hopefully. So, all right, here we go. Let's lay out the day. Hopefully, whatever the fuck I was just thinking about is going to come back to me. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You know. I'm going to be taking a half day today, because I've been working hard, working for a living, working 9 to 5, whatever the fuck you want to say, because my beautiful wife and I are going to be going to Aspen this weekend. She and I are taking 2 days, and we're going to enjoy my birthday, which was 2 days ago. Oh, there we go. Oh, man. There's the view. Holy shit, that's a good one today. Yo, when it gets to be wintertime, I like a good overcast day, because, well, I don't really know why, but just if you start to see a light snow falling, I don't know, it's very pretty. But on days in the winter, especially like today where it's really cold, it's 27 degrees right now, and the sun is shining. You know, in the wintertime, the sun is really low on the horizon. And we seriously experienced that hardcore when we lived in Alaska. Woo, man. You wake up, whatever time you get up in the morning, 7, 8 o'clock, maybe earlier. For me, it was much earlier. It was 5:30. And it is pitch black. And then I take the kids to school or daycare for 8 o'clock. It's pitch black. I'd pick them up at 3 o'clock. It's pitch black. The only times the sun was out, you know, it was like right around noontime, and then you had that low sun. So you had to have your visor up the whole time. Same thing right here. I got the visor up, but when the sun is behind me, rising in the east as it is, shining towards the west where the Rocky Mountains are right now, I'm going to tell you something. I can't complain with a sunny day. It's stunning. This view is stunning. We only got the tops of the mountains covered in white right now, and it's a beautiful, beautiful view. So where was I? State of affairs. I can't even remember where we were, because I was coming around the corner. I saw that view. I was like, holy shit. Oh yeah, so we're taking a little trip. So I'm gonna take the afternoon off and get a bunch of little errands done. Now I remember. Case in point. So, like I said, this is the podcast specifically carefully crafted, to remind you to suck a fat one if you think you're the only one. And I have sucked the fat ones. I'm not gay or anything. I just mean figuratively. Sucked the fat ones in my 20s when I thought I was the only one. Yeah, well, big news. You're not the only one. Here I am in my upper 40s after having turned 47 on 11/16 2 days ago. And I'm realizing more and more I'm not the only one. So tell me, parents out there, if you've experienced this one. My wife and I are going out of town with our next door neighbors. If we were going out of town and without our next door neighbors, we would probably have asked them to watch the kids. But since they're going with us, we had to find somebody else who was willing to help us out, and we did. And my wife knows this family, and I just met them. And we live on Buckley Space Force Base, so they're a military family. And they understand. Military people are very interesting in this regard. They understand what it takes in order to make the military family survive, which is you need assistance. And a lot of times you get that assistance from other military families. I can't tell you the number of times that my next door neighbor, we moved in roughly the same time. When my next door neighbor asked me to borrow something, I'm like, yeah, here you go. And he's done it like 4 or 5 times, and I'm like, sure, no problem. And then what's so great about military folk is that they'll come right back at you and say, oh, thank you so much. And on your side, you're like, yeah, it's no big deal. Now, this is a little bit bigger deal because we're asking somebody to watch our kids. And my stepdaughter, she's going to be staying with one of her friends for Friday night and Saturday night. And then my wife and I come back on Sunday. We can't let the kids stay at home alone yet. They're still too young. We got 15, 13, and 8. The 15-year-old, he was going to stay with one of his buddies, but the kid's father got COVID, so he can't stay with him. So he's going to stay with this family on base. And we went to go meet him yesterday. And here is where you realize you're probably not the only one. We went in. I hadn't met the mom before. I introduced myself. And her daughter came downstairs. I introduced myself to her. My wife and I are doing all the pleasantries that you would normally do when you first meet somebody. And then we turned to the older ones. Like our little one, our 8-year-old, he's fine. Like, as soon as he saw a cat when he got in the house, he was like, oh, kitty. And then he heard a dog when we were coming in. He was, oh, a doggy. Right? He loves playing with animals. The 2 older ones, teenagers. And I know there are people out there with teenagers. The teenagers weren't saying a word. And after we got done, doing our pleasantries with the mom and the daughter is 14, so she's right in between our kids. So we have our kids 15 and 13, the daughter 14. We say all the niceties, and then of course the kids behind us they're not saying anything at all. And we turn and say, "Can you introduce yourselves?" And they just both of them they got this just fucking teenage attitude, like, ugh. That's all I can say. It's just, ugh. And then so they say their names, or hi, I'm blah blah blah, and then that's it. That's all they say. And we try to coach them all the time. When you meet somebody, say, hi, my name is so and so. Notice something about the other person, or tell them something that you heard about them that you think is interesting. Like, hey, I heard that I don't know. I heard you collect coffee cups. That's pretty cool. I collect blah blah blah. Just to get conversation going. We give them these hints all the time. The one thing I tell them all the time is just notice something about the person. Notice something. You can say, hey, my name is so-and-so. And you go, oh, hey, I like your earrings. Where'd you get those? Get people talking. That's what you do. Get the attention off yourself. And we, mention that as we're walking over to the house to meet the family. we're like, yeah, just, be nice, be polite, and talk. But what do we get? Hi, I'm so-and-so. That's it. You get the hi, I'm so-and-so out, and then... So then, in order to try to break the awkwardness of the silence that's coming from the children, I try to shy away from this, but my wife sometimes she'll just go and address it, not directly to them, but to the people that we're meeting. She'll say something like, oh, they're teenagers, right? And in their minds, they're like, oh, I'm a teenager? What's that mean? And then they get all pissy. So then for like the next 5 minutes, my stepson, who wasn't saying anything when we first got there, now starts mumbling little phrases under his breath every time my wife says something in the conversation that he finds, that he can throw in a little jab. And I wish I could remember some of the things that he was saying. But for those of you who have teenagers out there, I think you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. Where they won't say fucking shit, and then when you turn back and you want to keep the conversation going, now they got something to say. Well, it's like, fuck, say it. Dude, you had your chance. Now if you want to say something, speak the fuck up. And if it's not polite, because we're meeting these people for the first time, and that's the other thing. You want to put your best foot forward as parents when you're first meeting somebody, particularly somebody who's doing you a huge favor. And just, you want to make sure, you want to show them, oh, okay, these kids that are going to come stay with you, they're okay kids, they're nice kids. Instead, what we got is my son, who's just, he's just bouncing around the house looking for animals. The mom offered him a piece of candy. He went and got candy. He was so happy. He said, thank you. You got that. And then you got the older one. And then saying stuff under his breath about his mom while the conversation continues. It's like, oh, fuck. And you try so hard as parents to avoid this shit, and then it still happens. All right, I made the turn off the highway. So now we'll switch topics and get off of that one. But holy shit, is that frustrating. Teenagers. And I remember I was a teenager as well. But when I was a teenager, I didn't give a shit. I said hi to everybody. Hold doors open, whatever. Ooh, there's a shit ton of deer out there. Wow. But they're not really deer here in Colorado. They're antelope, I think. Anyway, all right. Switching topics. Let's go to health. So, my stepson and I, we are doing our best to get back into the gym. Me in particular, he's not getting back into the gym. This is his first time into the gym. Excuse me. I haven't been in the gym in over a decade because I've been doing all the P90X home workouts. I've done the Insanity. I've done the Asylum. But for the past couple years, I've kind of been, letting fitness slide. And my wife, who's fucking hot, woo, is an incredible motivator when it comes to health. I mean, this woman's her sleep schedule is phenomenal. Her workout routine and discipline is phenomenal because she gets up every morning to ride the Peloton. Every morning. She's approaching her 500th ride. She'll probably get it sometime in between Thanksgiving and Christmas. She's got her bike. I bought her bike last year for her birthday, which is in August. And she's approaching 500 rides. It's fucking phenomenal. She loves that thing. And while we were in Florida last year, and I kept seeing her on the bike, now I'm thinking, oh shit, well, she's doing the best that she can to stay in shape for herself and for me. Let's step up our game here, kid. So the other thing that was going on in Florida at the time was, anytime we'd go to a beach or a pool, my stepson would keep his shirt on, and he's not fat. He's tall and lanky, but he's like skinny fat because he's not athletically inclined. So when we got here, I'm like, all right, fuck, I need to start doing something I'm kind of a little bit tired of the home workouts. Not really tired of. It's just I wanted a change of pace. I wanted to put some muscle back on my body. And I also am looking at my stepson, and I'm like, you know what? I got to help this kid. I got to get some muscle back on his body so that even though he's not playing any sports or anything like that, he's a cool kid. Great sense of humor. But my thought is, all right, even though he's not playing any sports, let's get some muscle on his body so that he feels a little bit more comfortable about who he is. So we've been going to the gym every Monday and Thursday and focusing on 5 basic strength exercises: pull-ups, squats, bench press, deadlifts, and clean and jerks. 5 sets. So when we started out in our phase 1, that was the rewire your circuitry phase. And now we're in phase 2. So phase 1 lasted about 2 months. Phase 2 is going to last about 3 to 4 months. We are in the find your max phase, where we take each one of these exercises and we start out with, like, I don't know, maybe 50 to 66% of what our max would be, and then lower the reps and increase the weight until we get it to a point where, all right, you can't even do 2 reps. If you can do 1, that's great. But if you can't do 2, all right, now it's time to stop, and now you found your max. And then you just continue to slowly inch up the weight every week, continuing to get stronger and stronger and stronger. So that's where we're at right now. And I shall be hitting the gym with him to do that routine tonight. We're doing our combo set. I'll explain that at some other time because I'm actually getting close to getting back on base here. But bottom line being that what I have to do with today's workout is the same thing I did on Monday when we worked out, which is to modify 3 of the exercises because I kind of tweaked my lower back. And for those of you who have ever had lower back issues, you know that you don't want to fuck around with that. Yeah, I did something on my second set of deadlifts on last Thursday where I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Something ain't right here. And again, another issue where I know I'm not the only one. I know there are other people who are out there who've done that. And, you know, I'm 47 years old now. Form has never been more important than when you hit your upper 40s and you're trying to work out again. Not necessarily to reclaim your youth, but I gotta say, it's nice to look in the mirror and start to see some shape come back into my upper body. So I have to really watch how I do certain exercises. So I'll be modifying the squats, the deadlifts, and the clean and jerks to be using kettlebells on a couple of them, and I'll use a trap bar on my deadlift. And diet-wise, I've been doing great, except for on my birthday night when my wife and I drank 2 bottles of wine collectively, a bottle each. That was 2 days ago. That was fucking hysterical. Woke up with a decent little headache. So, but diet-wise, yeah, I've been doing the ketogenic diet, which I fucking love. And I'll wrap this up because I'm about to get scanned. Morning. Thank you. She told me to have a good one. I'm going to have a good one. So I'm back on base. I'm no longer off base. Anyway, I'll wrap it up with the diet here, keto diet. If you haven't researched it, and it'd be wise, I think, to do so, to see if it's for you or not, man. I like it. Now, the only trouble with keto is that at some point down the line, probably around Thanksgiving time, I'm going to start to crave rices, pastas, spreads, potatoes. But when you're not eating those things as your energy source, when you're using fat as your energy source, fat is a slower burning fuel. It's 9 calories per gram, whereas carbohydrates are 4 calories per gram. So the beautiful, oh man, what a great view of the mountains. Woo! Sorry, I just had to stop and take a look. Man, Denver in the foreground, beautiful. So, all right, fats, slower burning fuel source. So, and everybody knows this, when you hit the afternoon after you've had lunch, let's say you just had a sandwich for lunch, you had bread. Now all of a sudden your body goes through that insulin spike and your blood sugar levels start to oscillate, and at around 3 o'clock, you feel like you want to take a nap. When you're on keto, you sail through the afternoon because that slower burning fuel source doesn't do anything to your blood sugar level. And it really is a phenomenal feeling, and that's where I want to go. Sticking on keto, I'm eating way more than half the amount of grams of protein compared to my body weight. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'll try to explain it. Right now I'm about 190 pounds, which means for good maintenance, you should be eating about half of that in grams of protein for maintenance of muscle growth. So I should be eating 95 grams of protein per day. I'm probably at about where I want to be, which is 75% of that. So eating about 135 to 150 grams of protein every day. And that's where I'm at. I've been doing great with it. One of my favorite meals to eat during the day, because I work from home, is I'll make this, instead of ramen, I'll just make this chicken and cabbage soup, where after I boil the cabbage with a jalapeno, then I'll drain the water off, pour soy sauce on it, and then chicken broth, as well as a couple of soft-boiled eggs and probably anywhere between 8 and 16 ounces of chicken. Oh man, what a great fucking lunch. It's phenomenal. I invite you to try it out there. If not, I got to close this thing down, so I'll smell you this afternoon.